For today's math lesson, I want to look at how we can find equivalent fractions using multiplication and division. Now, we were using just our fraction strips in the previous assignment. We can kind of take a shortcut on that if we use multiplication or division. So I gave you guys a couple of examples of how that works. So a multiplying example would be this. So if I had 2/4, I can find an equivalent fraction by multiplying both the numerator and the denominator by the same number. In this case, I'm going to multiply them both by 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 times 2 is 8. So 2/4 would be the same thing as 4/8. So we say that they are equivalent, and we just use an equal sign to show that. A dividing example, I'm going to use the same fraction, 2/4 or 2/4, and I'm going to divide both the numerator and the denominator by 2. So for 2/4, 2 divided by 2 is 1, 4 divided by 2 is 2. So that would be 1/2 or 1/2. So since 2/4 and 1/2 are the same size, we say that they are equivalent. Now, a little bit of a caution when it comes to division is if you try dividing and both numbers can't be divided to make a whole number, then we just use multiplication. So for example, if I had something like 1/3, well, I can't divide 1 divided by 2 is like 1/2, right? So that doesn't really make sense for it. So if I had 1/3, I would have to use multiplication. And also 3 divided by 2 would be 1.5, so it also wouldn't work. All right, guys, on the back side of the page, there are about 10 for you to do. I'm gonna help you out with the first 2. So for 3/4, if you look at 3/4, I can't use, that's the end of recess time to get to work, guys. For 3/4, I can't use division because if I tried to divide them by 2 or by 3, we wouldn't get a whole number. 3 divided by 3 is 1, but 4 divided by 3 is 1.25 or 1.3. So that doesn't work. So we'd have to use multiplication. So we can use any number. We could use 2 or 3 or 4. In this case, I'm going to use 3. So 3 times 3 is equal to 9. 4 times 3 is equal to 12. So an equivalent fraction for 3/4 would be 9/12. I'm just going to do B, and then I'm going to let you guys do the rest on your own. So 8/10. So looking at 8/10, this is one of those ones that we could use division on, because 8 divided by 2 is equal to 4, and 10 divided by 2 is equal to 5. So 4/5 would be an equivalent fraction to 8/10. But I don't have to use division. I could use multiplication too. I could say 8/10. What if I multiply each of them by, I don't know, let's say 10 even. 8 times 10 is 80, and 10 times 10 is 100. So 80/100ths, although it's a big numbers in the fraction, it is equivalent to 8/10. All right, guys, there are about 8 more for you to do. Use multiplication or division to find equivalent fractions. Thanks.